everyone, this is Martabin Balot from Pakistan and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Ittihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us. So I had been busy in these past weeks. I was actually looking for and actually sorting out potential universities and institutions where I would be applying for my PhD abroad. And I have been writing so many of the cover letters and motivational letters and whatnot. I mean, sort of gathering up. So past 2 weeks have been really busy, and then there was Eid al-Azha, which is one of the biggest festivals in Islam. It comes right after the pilgrimage, yearly pilgrimage that once a year every Muslim person who can afford it is obligated to do. Nevertheless, I and my sister, we didn't celebrate this festival. My brother, well, he did celebrated it in his own way. But me and my younger sister, we had nothing to do with it. But anyway, it was a bit of what we can say, it was a 5-day holiday, and my brother had some activities. We had to go out, eat and stuff. Anyway, so the whole point is that while I was busy, I missed this very terrible incident which happened in Chicago, specifically Illinois, in the state of Illinois. And it was a mass manslaughter or a shooting, and a shooting on 4th of July parade in a I think Hyde Park in Illinois, in Chicago. It is basically a neighborhood predominantly having Jewish community, and the victims were also the 7 victims who lost their lives, including a couple who left behind one toddler, and he was saved by people there, a young woman and a man and his son. So this family saved this young toddler and reunited him to his grandparents, but this young couple died due to this horrific terror attack. And it was such a, and I completely missed the news because I didn't have the time to actually see the news and read the news. I had no time in past 2 weeks to read any articles or listen to the news or anything. I was pretty carried. So and then now that when I came across this incident through an article which I regularly read because of the inspiration, and it's a Jewish online magazine. It's called Aish. I will put the link below in the description box, and I'm a regular visitor. They have wonderful articles, and even in this terrible incident, this article actually points out how Jewish mothers actually stood up for the occasion and volunteered and helped in any way they can for the victims and people who are injured and their families and whatnot. When I read about the whole thing, the whole incident, it was such a shame that only a very young man, 21 years of age, I think, 21, 22, he had committed this horrific incident, and the weapons that he purchased were actually authorized by his own father. I think, I'm assuming, I haven't gotten a detailed sort of a background information regarding this terrorist, that I think his parents are separated somewhat, or maybe not. But anyway, I mean, this whole incident, seeing this young man who had a history of suicidal attempts and threatened to endanger or kill family members with knives, with his collection of knives actually, had collection of guns that he purchased in a few years, and all that, this anger management, this psychological things that he had in his past. I mean, it reminds me that how it doesn't remind me actually. I was just thinking that how the parents of how the working class parents raising these kids who are born in the 90s or later years, and there has been shootings by these young people in schools and other places in the US, and it shows. And I was just thinking that how are these working class, middle class or upper middle class people raising their kids, that one, they're agitated, they have psychological issues, they have traumas or whatnot. There is something going on in their head. If that is rage, if there is frustration, this guy literally planned everything, and he disguised himself as a woman, wore a wig, wore like a woman clothing to cover up his tattoos, and then making those tattoos, the trend of tattooing. One might say that, I mean, having tattoos could be a different. There is this actor who said that he was bullied and he felt vulnerable and scared, and that's why he put on these tattoos, so that people could see him as a macho man, and he shouldn't feel threatened by or intimidated by people. And I was just thinking, how are how is this generation, or the generation born in the 90s, in the early 90s and later on, how are parents raising them, especially parents who are from humble backgrounds or who are from middle class or upper middle class even? How are they raising their children? I mean, this father is authorizing a purchase of guns, firearms for his son, who have some mental or behavioral issues. So this shows me that how parents are dealing with the children. If the children insist on having even these dangerous weapons, the collection of knives, obviously he is just 21, probably not working, so his parents are paying for these costs, or probably he's working on low pay jobs. It's not like he's a CEO or he's getting a salary of 6 figures that he can afford these firearms or collection of sword and knives and guns and all that. But how reluctant parents are of this generation, this unfortunate generation, where parents don't invest their time in their children. They don't want to deal with the difficult issues that their children are going through mentally, emotionally, and that they don't want to deal with the traumas. They don't want to deal with the behavioral thing, because there is a background. If somebody has a violent behavior, somebody is suicidal, somebody is enraged of something, and somebody is mentally upset, there has to be a background to it. What happened in their lives? Where do they get the energy to feed this evilness, feed this thing in their mind, this hate is a very powerful emotion which requires a lot of energy. And one might ask, where does that energy comes from? And then I see how reluctant these parents are, that they are just giving their children things and materially, go buy us iPhone, go buy things and luxury cars and weapons and knives. Good deal. The parents' attitude to deal with a troubled child is basically provide them the things that they're asking for, rather than sitting down with their children and talking to them about life, about their behavioral aspects, about their aspirations. I was hearing on a YouTube channel this reporter. The father was replying to the reporter that my wife asked my son, "Do you have any plans for 4th of July?" And he said, "No, I have no plans." And that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Rather than saying, "Come on, it's a holiday. 4th of July it's a holiday, it's a national holiday. Why don't you hang around with us? Let's plan a family get together. Let's go out. Let's go out in celebrate. It's the independence of our country." They don't, the parents are just so, I don't know what is going on in their head, what are they wrapped up in, that they don't even have time for their children, and especially children with behavioral issues, with the troubled children. Parents need to be also sensitized that when your children have behavioral patterns which are not healthy and they are troubled children, you need to invest your time. You need to sit down with them and have a conversation, a longer conversation, a difficult conversation, rather than authorizing their gun purchase or their collection of knives. I mean, even to a normal, the person, a child which is an obedient child, a good child, getting good grades, if he asks his father or his mother that I want to purchase a gun, you ask as parents, you should ask, why do you need a gun for? Are you interested in serving in the army? Are you interested in shooting? Do you feel threatened by someone that you want to carry a firearm? What is the purpose of buying a thing? It has been this thing with these parents of the 90s who are raising teenagers or kids, children in their early 20s. They need to understand that you cannot, as a parent, it's not your responsibility just to provide for your children's things, whatever they want, whatever things they need, whatever the things they ask you to purchase. As a parent, not only is your job to give them those things, but actually ask them, why do you need that thing? Do you actually need that thing? What is the purpose of that? Especially things like firearms. Had this man, young man actually, not child, young man, didn't had all those guns, would he be able to do this massacre? So I think a bigger question after this incident is that parents who are raising teenagers, raising children who are in their early 20s, have that bonding with your children. Don't just give them or purchase for them things and say we are good parents because we are providing everything for our children, everything. No, as parents, you need to invest your time with your children. And then it comes back, I would come back to the Jewish tradition, that Shabbat, you close your phones, you close your electronics, you close everything. You have a family and you need to talk to them. And the great concept of Shabbat is to unite the family. You're not allowed to use any things. You're not allowed to do laundry or dishes or even cook. All this time, 24 hours, you need to sit with your family. Talk to each other. You have nothing else to do but to talk to each other. And even then, in that time, if you pick up a book, Even Torah, you pick it up and you start reading, you shouldn't even read. Yeah, go to synagogue as a family, but while you're walking towards the synagogue, have a conversation. I mean, that's just for the Jewish family, but I think on Sundays, on Fridays, when Muslims are holidaying, or the Christians are holidaying, or even Hindus and Sikhs and whoever, you have a weekend, you're not working, take a day off from a week. Yeah, it's a busy, challenging time and challenging professional lives and aspirations everyone has. So yeah, parents, both mother and father, are having this career oriented life, and you don't have time in the week, but take one day off, spend time with each other as a couple also, but also with your children. Don't just give your children things and say that we are great parents. Spend time with them, build and carve their personalities. See what is happening in their lives. See what your child is thinking. Talk to them about what's going on in their life. What is their thought process? What have they been thinking about their future? What do they want to achieve in their lives? Rather than providing them things, please provide them emotional support. Be there for them. Take them to see how things should be seen. Our parents are going so, our parents were a lot better, because my mother, I know we had been going through a lot of financial crisis, and she was there explaining to us, this is this is that, we have to do this, we have to be united as a family, we have to do this, we would work as a family, we would work as a unit. I think that's what is lacking in the parenting of children born in the 90s or later on. Spend time with them. Don't let them waste their time on their iPhones and on their electronics. Talk to them, connect to them as humans. You see, these people, that 21-year-old is obsessed with knives and guns. He doesn't care about humans. He just randomly shot people he didn't even knew. For him, human value or humans have no value. Things have value. So, try to understand these parents. I think after these horrific incidents, I think it's an alarming situation, and it is an opportunity for these parents to sit down and think that they are not only there to provide material things for their children, but also support as humans. They are the ears and eyes for their children to see the world in either a positive way or a negative way. So please help them understand this world. Help them understand their lives. Help them understand their thought process. It is a challenging time for these young children. I mean, the tattoos, the guy, it is such a pity to see what must have he be going through to do this. Such sickness and such mental imbalance is just it's pitiful. It's such a pitiful thing. And I must say, it's a shout out to all the parents. Look out for your children and take your responsibility as parents, not just provide them finances and material things, whatever they ask, irrespective of asking and having a conversation why actually they need things. Please, so be responsible parents. We are not being responsible in our sexual lives, in our relationships, and we are not being responsible as parents, as individuals, as human beings. This is a mess. This is a serious mess. And I think we need to seriously think about it. And I hope this video helps. And I hope parents of teenagers and young adults should watch this video and have this urgency to connect with their children. Please do. Thank you very much. Thank you.